Footy and Frothies, it's preview time. Daggy and Barney with you to look at round 4 of rugby league action. 4? 3? 4, yeah, round 4. NRL.com haven't changed their header. Anyway, I'm on the right list, so I know what I'm doing. How are you, David?
You're good, mate. You?
Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, we just talked
Not
for a
really
bit.
excited about this round of footy, to be honest.
It's, no. Well, there's 8 games on, so I suppose you better talk about them. Kicks off on Thursday night with the Bunnies hosting the Panthers. Obviously, injuries have wrought havoc on both sides. For Penrith, Trent Talau comes in with Cleary under concussion protocol. He's the 7. We saw him in action in that trial game. So interesting to see him under proper match conditions. Apart from that, Dane Laurie's back at fullback. And Tom Jenkins comes into the centres, Alamone to the wing.
Interesting.
I wonder if that was always the plan. I know Jenkins was lurking a while back, but it's interesting that, that Alamone hasn't kept his centre spot, but did a pretty good job there last week, I suppose. For the Bunnies, Alex Johnson's back. He's back for the first time since round 21 last year. Tass moves into the centres because there's no Campbell Graham. In an already injury-depleted side. Do you reckon this is the hallmarks of a bludger or not?
Well, I think South are probably going to kick up the arse, to be honest, because they were really kept on the back foot for the first 40 or 50 minutes last week, and it's probably their worst showing of the year. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see them come out quite aggressive and trying to sort of get the ball to the edges early and get some points on. I do like Tass in the centres. I think he's been wasted a little bit out on the wing, and I think he's, I think there's something there. So
well, he can stand and offload and break
bit
tackles
of strength
better there.
and
Yeah,
pace, acceleration more so than pace. But the Penrith obviously with the players that they've got out, I think South might probably start a little bit stronger, but yeah, Penrith will be finishing this game over the top of the South side. I'm only going to go 1-12 just because I think there will be an uptick out of South after last week's performance against the Sharks. I'm going to go with Yo man of the match because he generally is close to the best player on the field week in and week out. But I am going to go with South to score first, and I'm going to go with Jai Gray to get the first try for South Sydney.
Yeah, I was thinking 1-12 looks obvious to me as well because I can see Penrith just wanted to nurse themselves through a week, I guess, and they've never really, until they get in well into the second and thirds of the season, they really start putting teams to the sword. I think they'll just be completing high, doing their job and ticking through, and as you said, there'll be enough of a bounce back from South to keep them in this. I'll just be different and say man of the match, Dane Laurie, get involved with a couple of try assists and be scheming and sniffing in and around behind those halves, and first try scorer Bizza. Started the season pretty strong. I can see this being sort of 24, 6 or 18.
I think South will probably be
12.
pretty disappointed in their forwards last week, so I expect a bit of a bounce back.
Yeah. Friday night kicks off. Chooks are at 6 o'clock again, this time against the Titans in a interesting clash. De Groot comes in to fullbacks, as we said. No, AJ stays at 6 with Keeney out. And who else has changed here? Khan Pereira is back, and Jamin. No, he's not. He's still off. No other changes. Tony Francis, your man, keeps his spot. The rest looks pretty much what we had last week for the Chooks. No Connor Watson, Zach Docker-Clay at 9 is the main change there. And do we get Nat Butcher and Lindsay Collins back? Makatoa drops out of the side. I think if they get given the space and time, do Gold Coast go into the Warriors category of home only, or do you reckon they can produce more than we've seen?
I think Collins and Nat Butcher back is a big in for the Roosters. They probably did get let down by their forwards again last week, and that'll be something that they'll be aiming to fix. I just think that the defensive lapses that Gold Coast do have probably don't line up real well against the Roosters side back at home with a point to prove after last week's performance.
Yeah.
If you can get Toya and Marky Mark lining up against the centres and the wingers out there and give them enough early ball, I think the Roosters have probably got more attacking options in there to be able to score points with Tedesco probably being the man to provide some of those short passes to set that kind of stuff up. So.
Yeah, I was all geared up to tip the Titans, and then I just sort of jerried that, Roosters won't do much wrong. I don't know what pace they'll do it at, but they'll do everything. They'll get through their work and won't miss the silly tackles that we saw in round one. And I think Titans will. So it's an interesting balance. I'm looking forward to seeing this forward clash because if Titans do own it there, that's how I think they can dominate.
Oh, 100%.
And if they pin him down there with enough ball, Campbell will do his thing.
Yep.
And he still might. But I just think this could become, if this becomes the game Roosters played last week, Titans aren't really cut out for that, for a boring game of footy.
Yeah.
I think they need a touch game. So my heart says Titans, but I'm going to tip the Roosters 1-12. Man of the match, Teddy. If they're going to win, he's going to be doing most of it. First try scorer, Mark Nawatakanese.
I'm exactly the same, except I'm going to go the other side. I'm going to go Toya, first try scorer.
He's shown a nice bit of footwork, and he goes looking.
And Teddy does like that left to right.
That's true.
Yeah.
Are you interested in that game? I think could be a spectacle. Could be anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Could be anything. If it turns into a game with touch footy, it could be 40 plays 38 or something. But it could also be 6-4.
Dolphins host, by host I mean play at Suncorp against the Broncos for the Finns.
Let's take our home game to Suncorp against Brisbane.
No changes actually for the Dolphins, and Dean Mariner makes way for Katoni Staggs to come back in. Shibasaki keeps his spot in the number 4. I am not overthinking this. I think we get a bit of a replay what we saw last week in the Cowboys game. I think Dolphins will be up for the derby for 25 minutes and then get blown off the park.
I don't even know if they're going to be up for 25 minutes, to be honest. I think it's going to be a slaughter.
Absolutely, okay.
I don't know how they control the forward pack from Brisbane. The only reason that the Dolphins looked half decent last week was because they were on the front foot early against the Tigers. I can't see them being on the front foot for more than 5 or 10 minutes in this game against this Brisbane side.
It's funny, if you look at the times they scored against the Tigers, there's a couple of lapses in defence and some slow stuff, and I don't think Brisbane give that,
I think they get dominated in the middle of the field, and that just leads to a field day out wide. You probably see 2 try assists from Hunt, 2 try assists from Reynolds. Cobbo might score 2 or 3 just off his own bat as well. So I'm going to go with Cobbo first try scorer. I'm going to go man of the match, Payne Haas, because he's been the best player in the comp for 3 weeks, and I'm going to go Brisbane 13+.
Brisbane 13+, man of the match, Payne Haas. I'm going to first try scorer. We'll go with Jesse Arthur because that's been their hot hand, that edge. But I'm going to go last try scorer, Reece Walsh. I can see, doesn't this have the hallmarks of last year and the year before that, last 15 minutes where he actually just decides he's going to be just going to carve up and score 2 tries in the last 10 minutes. So let's see if we get a bit of that to take us into the weekend. Dragons come off the bye to kick off Super Saturday, 3 p.m. against the Storm from Jubilee. For the Dragons, Toby Catchman starts and David Clemmer makes his club debut on the bench. Dylan Egan comes on to the interchange for his NRL debut if you're looking for a cheapie to cash out one of your cheapies this week. No Blake Lawrie, no Fatala Mariner. Moses Sully is under a bit of an injury cloud for the Storm. Jerome Hughes broke his hand, actually, so I think he's going to miss a month. Tyron Wishart comes in at 7. He's goes okay. And
not bad.
Anderson into the centres. Warbrick onto the wing. And Lazarus Valapu comes in for Nas, who was concussed last week. I assume out the back of the head clash, but he played
when he
end of the game. Anyway.
Whose face did he break?
He broke Nick Meaney's, who's also going to be missing for a week.
Broke Nick Meaney's face.
Yeah, with his head there. But anyway, Dragons will be out for 20 minutes. Again, I think the spine will click into gear, and by the back end, this could be 36 or 40 to the Storm, especially with Pappy now back and seemingly at the peak of his powers. Going with him for first try off one of those little short balls or support play things where he flicks out the back and he just waltzes over on an edge. Man of the match, Cam Munster. He'll take control for large parts of this, and I think he showed exactly what he brings to the table last week. First try scorer, Coates, off the back of a Munster kick. No, I just already did that. That's Pappy. 13 plus. I can't. Yeah, throw them in the same game multi.
I could,
Pappenhausen, Coates, Katoa, and I don't know, Harry Grant.
Dragons could play the best game they've played this year and still lose 13 plus.
Yeah, they've missed their shots now, haven't they?
I think so.
Yeah.
I can see them scoring a couple of tries, but I can see Melbourne scoring a couple more, and then maybe a couple more after that. Dragons have really faded in the last 20 minutes of games. Lost. They probably should have won just about every game they played. Like the two games that they played, they probably should have won them both, but they faded that badly in the last 15, 20 minutes. For mine, that's where Harry Grant just completely pulls them apart in the middle of the ruck, and he gets man of the match for mine. Might score a try, put a couple of barge overs at the back end of this game and really extend the pain on the Dragons. 13 plus to Melbourne. Harry Grant man of the match. I'm going to go with Warbrick returning for the first try scorer.
Even though they won last week, I can see a bellyache blow up in the lead up to this game. So I reckon this is a statement game. He would not have been happy with how much they let Penrith back into that game. But apparently Flanagan's had them out, flogging them after their efforts as well.
They're forward. Their middle of their ruck has just fallen apart in the last 20 minutes of every game that they've played this year. And if that happens again, Harry Grant will just cash in.
They need to keep Little on the field. Cowboys and Raiders, 5:30. We'll talk about bounce backs. At least one of these teams need it. Up north, we've got, for the Cowboys, Zach Labour is named an extended bench and may come back. He's been off an ACL. And Tarpanay comes back, which pushes Horsburgh to lock Trey Mooney onto the interchange bench. Smithies had a concussion, so...
Yep.
Yeah, they're the changes there. What do we do?
I wouldn't argue with having Trey Mooney in front of Smithies, to be honest.
Apparently Cowboys are favourites.
Well, I would not be surprised if the Cowboys win this game. I'm actually going to tip the Cowboys to win this game off the performance they put in last week against Brisbane. It was by far their best performance of the year, and I think that's something that they can build on. We've seen the Raiders can get a little bit sloppy on the edges. Obviously, they got torn apart on the edges against the Manly side, and not that I expect the Cowboys to be able to do the same as what Manly did, but I think there might be an extra try in the Cowboys when they do get out to those outside edges, just with a little bit of extra pace and footwork to be able to sort of isolate the Tomoko, Chris, the wingers out there. Drinkwater has to have a bottler of a game for him to win this game, and I think that's what I'm relying on. I think Drinkwater probably sets up a couple of tries during the game, and he ends up with man of the match. The forward battle is going to be massive, and it's going to be the whole reason of either side wins this game. And the Cowboys don't have a devastating forward pack, but just out of the amount of effort they put in last week, if they can just match the middle of the Raiders for half of the game, that I think they've probably just got a little bit of extra pace out wide that they might be able to get around the Raiders. So I'm going to go Vailea to score the first try, Drinkwater man of the match, and Cowboys 1-12.
I'm scared up north. But I think the forward pack is the difference, and Tarpanay coming back will help, and that will just tip it slightly in favour of the Raiders coming off, having to defend for an hour last week. If they get a ball in hand, they'll be keen to make the most of it. So, Tarpanay, man of the match, leading the way there. Fogarty a close second, just getting around the park and kicking properly. I think that's where they have the two advantages over the Cowboys.
Makes sense.
Tomoko first try with, I know he likes breaking tackles, but maybe throwing off Valia and just barging over to get the ball rolling. Not a high-scoring game. I've got a feeling it might be... That could go one or two ways. This could be 36-30, but I've got a feeling it might not be. Might be a little less than that. Main event, which would have been match of the round, probably is still match of the round, really, in an average round. Sharks hosting the Bulldogs at Shark Park. Tom Hazelton's back from injury, so Hamlin Uele drops out. And same 17 that beat Parramatta last week in the pretty uninspiring performance from the Bulldogs. At least ball in hand wise. Sharks keep going, I think it's going to be about 36-20 again. That Sharks will manage to concede 2 late tries in the last 12 minutes.
Quite possibly.
To get them back into it, but it should be pretty dominant. I think they'll match up well and truly physically. Halves will go through their work, one will take over, and the rest will take care of itself. The outside backs is a tremendous matchup. I think there might just be a bit more individual brilliance with the right service from the Cronulla side. So, first try scorer, Iro. Man of the match for Noah Blake. Nice matchup for him, just against a couple of small props there. Well, Luke Fetty's not small, but...
Yeah, I think this probably breaks down at the end of the game for the Bulldogs. If what they offered up against Parramatta, I'll be surprised if they get a try or two, to be honest, if they throw that up against the Sharks, unless they completely switch off at the back end of the game.
More going a drop up and an intercept and a...
I think the Sharks will end up just knocking the door down in the last 20 minutes. I think because you haven't seen an 80-minute performance out of the Cronulla, but their forward pack has gone for 60 to 80 minutes every week. Like the skill and execution hasn't gone along with it, but their forward pack is aimed up week in and week out. And I think if that happens, they'll get that roll through the middle, and by the end of the game, the Dogs probably won't be able to contain them through the middle of the field. And you'll see the likes of Brayley plunging over, Fanua Blake, Nakora, probably all scoring tries in and around the post, maybe even throw Hazelton in there as well. So, and if you add that to a couple of tries from the outside backs, I think it could be a bit of a gap job by the end of the game. Sharks 13 plus, man of the match for Noah Blake. I'm going with you. I think he'll really relish the last 20 minutes of this game. I'm going to go with Brayley to score the first try. Big show and go from dummy half, dive over.
Beautiful. 4 o'clock Sunday kicks us off with the Seagulls from Four Pines hosting Parramatta. I should have played that stupid song. The good news for Para fans is Turbo's had a week off and a rest, and he's back, so just in time, which pushes Hopewade back to the wing. Josh Alloway starts, obviously, with thoughts to Taniela Paseka, who's going to be out with an Achilles injury for the rest of the year, which he walked off. He handled it pretty well, but poor bugger's got a long road ahead of him. All the best to him. Sean Russell is back. And Daniel Keir comes onto the starting side. Yeah, okay. Sorry, comes on in 17. The rest of it is pretty much what we saw last week in that game there. 13 plus Manly. I think Tommy Fresh. He will. They're not going to faff about like like Canterbury did last week. They'll put points on, and Parramatta won't chase them down. So man of the match, Turbo. First try, Turbo. Just bursting straight to the middle, beating someone, palming him off and running 30 metres to score. I'm not going to add much more to this. There's more pain for Para than there is relief in the weeks ahead, I think.
Does DCE get booed running out to 4 Pines?
So.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
Might be a smattering, I think. You might hear a few boos,
Maybe.
I think, running out there.
Not if they're winning. It won't take long to turn them around.
Well, that's why I'm going for a man of the match. I think he might have a beard of his bonnet and something to prove at the back end of this one. And you might see a few of those early kicks and, for Saab and some, just some improvisation to create some try-scoring opportunities out off TCE's boot, or maybe even a show and go and some runs. Yeah, Eels' only hope is to dominate the middle, and even if they do that, I don't think they get a lot of points off the back of it, to be honest, because they're going to have to deal with these big athletic fucking... They've probably got the quickest outside backs in the comp, Manly, and if they can get them all up and firing, then this could be an absolute slaughter. So, yeah, Manly 13 plus, DCE man of the match, and I'm going to go with Saab, first try scorer.
All right, and 6 o'clock Sunday evening, the Tigers host the Warriors at Campbelltown. Tigers unchanged, pending Jarrell Skelton being okay, but at this stage, suggestion is he's fine, as is Fainu. For the Warriors, Adam Pompey comes into the side at centre, which pushes... just comes straight in for RTS. Rocco Berry comes in as the other change. Do I dare dream of 3 in a row, Bar?
I am. I think for mine, Terrell May's been brilliant 3 weeks in a row. I think he's going to take this as a personal challenge, and I think you're going to see a bit of that extra explosive running, especially in and close to the line. I'm going to go with him first try scorer.
Okay.
I think he's really going to wind up when they get down there early and maybe be able to barge over somebody and score the first try. And I think off the back of that, if they can get some, get that momentum in the middle of the field, you're going to see Appy and Talon and even Lua. I think this is a game where you'll see it'll lead to Luai being able to get on the outside edges, especially if you can get on the front foot and be able to match the Warriors forward pack, even get them on the back foot. I think Luai is going to come into his own on this one and skipping on the outside of players and setting up
It is the
some try
matchup.
scorers out there.
In years gone by, we would get excited about Luai's footwork versus the Warriors centres.
Yeah, some lazy back rowers, some lazy centres, some short balls being able to, Stafford Tower scoring tries out there, Dewey maybe on an edge. So I think it'll still be close, but I think I think Tigers will be comfortable at the end with maybe a 10-point win. Tigers 1-12, Luai man of the match, and Tyrone Mead first try scorer.
I'm doing the same because without a great deal of confidence, but
Tyrell.
By all measures, Tigers are bringing something to the table that I don't know if Warriors will away from home on a Sunday night. Both wingers will score. Take your pick, Skelton or Tito. I think they can get him on the edges again. And I think Uppy's on for another try as well because I can see those gaps then opening up the middle, and there'll be or Talon. There'll be a hooker try from the Tigers in this game. I think coming 1-12, but I'm thinking sort of 28 to 16, something like that. Okay. I'll call it about. I'd be happy with that and take it, and I think Tigers will be happy to bank 8 points heading into 6 points with the bye starting to loom in the next few weeks as well. So hopefully, happy days. Has anything got you frothing in this round?
To be honest, the Cowboys-Raiders game's probably be the one that I'm looking forward to the most, and maybe even that one that we just mentioned there, Tigers and Warriors, because I can see them being
it's a good litmus
competitive,
test.
some really good forward battles, and there's some skill in the outside backs where, if given the opportunity, I can see some teams, if they do get on a roll and on the front foot, you might see some pretty flashy tries as well on the back of it. So.
I've got a bit of a sick fascination for that Roosters game, just to see what both teams bring to the table. Mm-hmm. And in the same way, both as a fan and not, I think it's a good test for the Tigers just to see if they can handle some bit more physicality than they've copped for the last few weeks, and even better, dish it back to them would be nice. That's it. We will be back next week to talk about it all again. Next Tuesday night, we'll review the week and keep getting onwards and upwards as we get into the churn of rugby league season. Any Supercoach points now? Any Supercoach thoughts now the prices have come through and we've had to make some changes, or maybe you haven't?
I haven't had to, but I have anyway, because that's just what you do when you play Supercoach.
Yeah.
But, obviously it's all about your break-evens at the moment. Anyone that's looking like they're going to miss their break-even by a fair bit is probably someone that you want to be going and looking to move on and bring somebody else into your side. There's quite a few. Like, obviously, everyone's got Purdue, and he's still got a minus break-even at the moment. So someone that you want to keep for a few weeks.
Toya's single figures. They might even be negative. There's a few that are making money now, especially.
Oh, there's a whole heap of them. There's Starling, Pappenhausen, Gutherson's minus 60 or 45 or something. I don't know how many points he's going to score this week, but he's not going to get minus 45. So
give it time.
There's so many different options that you can go for. Paynehaus, you need to buy him now. Otherwise, you are not going to be able to buy him.
Your back row's where the money's made, but it's almost like you've got to have four of the front rowers. Like you could easily just load up Tino, Payne,
May,
Terrell, and Horsburgh or a Fanua Blake if you wanted to, and that's where you make your cash.
Because Paynehaus is still going to make another probably $80,000 in the next 2 weeks. So if you don't have him this week, then it's going to cost you another 40 or 50 next week, and then again and again, and he's already in the 700. So. I've gone out of my way to make sure I've got him in this week. I was going to get him last week, which I should have done, but I had other pressing issues in my squad.
Yeah, me too.
Terrell May is another one that I really want, but it looks like he's only, unless he absolutely kills it this week, he's only going to make about $35,000. I'm still going to be $70,000 more than what you could have got him for last week, but something that you can work around, but. Yeah, there's no real back rowers kicking the door down at the moment, apart from probably Hamole, who's I would say a lot of teams already do have, but he's been punching out an average of close to 80, I think.
And
Well, there was
Hudson
one
Young,
game he
but-
didn't go great, but
You're now relying on the Raiders to win some more games. So,
It's-
Dylan Lucas, but he's now busted.
it's
The
all
other one.
about for people that aren't obviously sniping for the week-to-week $1,000. It's all about trying to get as much money into your team as you can at the moment. So you're looking for the guys with the lowest break-evens you can possibly get. And anyone that's got a break-even of over 80 or 90, you really need to probably get someone in with a break-even of 20 instead. But
Yeah, I'm thinking of just trying to nurse for a couple of weeks and let all the price changes tick over properly, like the ones you mentioned, and just keep them. But I've copped Cleary last week. I had Ponga as well. As a lot of others did. So we'll just ride the waves.
Yep.
Anyway, let's go do that, and we'll be back at another time. Do it again later. Bye bye.
Let's do some time on Supercoach next week.
Yeah, why not?
All right.